fascinating, interesting debate show is live in the huddle.
Ladies and gents, boys and girls from around the world, welcome back to another episode of In the Huddle, EP 279. And man, oh man, I am here on this, Thursday night, right after the game, right after the Chargers and Chiefs game. And I wasn't going to do a show, but I'm amped up, right? I'm very amped up. Shout out to the NFL for a good game. Normally the first Thursday night football game, slacking a little bit normally. So for us to get a good divisional game that's going to have some implications, right? Because these two teams, Claire, got to play each other again. To kick us off that way on Thursday night, I commend the NFL and for its innovative ways to create one of the biggest monsters out here when it comes to sports. I feel sorry for all them old heads that don't know technology, that couldn't get on Amazon Prime, right? I guess not skipping that computer class back in high school would have did you just good, because we all know we are transferring into the metaverse, and you got to learn how to use the computer, guys. So I feel sorry for those who didn't get to see it, but that's why you got NFL Network. So get caught up on that, and y'all get caught up on the content that we have dropping for y'all by subscribing to the channel, because that's the most important thing to do. Listen, I'm not even gonna lie, the subscribers on this channel got to go up. We pushing out good content, and I want to continue to push out good content, but something got to change. And if these subscribers ain't going up, then we're gonna have to find an alternative route on probably a different platform to push out this great content. There's a lot of work that goes into creating content, and before the show, during the show, after the show. So all I ask of you is to subscribe, like the video, share the video, and support new media. With that being said, I ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's get right into this game, because I have a lot to say. I have a lot of emotions flowing. Claire, I don't really have a rooting interest, right? You know me, I'm a Tom Brady guy. But nevertheless, the Chiefs beat the Chargers 27-24. Now, I want to start off this whole segment by reading a tweet that I tweeted out right after the game. I'm going to share it with y'all, and I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by this tweet. Basically, I tweeted, "Don't just praise Herbert for his toughness. Praise him for his quarterback skills. There's nothing Mahomes could do that he can't. Don't confuse the situation with the skill." Lil Shadamas. Now, before I dive and uncover and decode my own tweet, what I want to say is it was definitely a gutsy, tough performance from Justin Herbert, and I'm not surprised. I've been very high on the kid. Claire, I did my quarterback rankings. I have him winning MVP this year, right? And a lot of people has given me hell on radio shows trying to argue that, okay? Now, as I explained my tweet, don't just praise Herbert for his toughness. Praise him for his quarterback skills. It's nothing Mahomes could do that he can't. Don't confuse the situation with the skill. And I mean what I say. A lot of people, Herbert is tough. Gutsy performance tonight. Broken ribs, potentially, hopefully not. But he came and almost won the game. Y'all praising the wrong things. How long this quarterback been in the league? What, his third season? There's a lot of people that I've talked to in sports and debated with in sports that has still not given Justin Herbert his jurisdiction due as a top elite quarterback in this league. And a lot of people's justification of that is, well, I ain't see the Chargers in the playoffs. Yeah. And that's why my tweet says, don't confuse the situation with the skill. Brandon Staley is trying to find himself as a head coach. We're going to talk about the conservative play calling in the game. Okay, Claire, we have some questions that people asked me in the DM on the poll that I posted, so I'm going to get to that in a minute. Brandon Staley is still trying to find himself and find who he is as a coach. Am I Mr. Analytics? Should I be conservative? Claire, we saw that battle. We saw that internal war going on in this game. Andy Reid is a Hall of Famer already, man. Andy Reid already done made a Super Bowl, man, and won a Super Bowl, man. He already done won playoff games, man. You know, and this is nothing to take away from Mahomes. Mahomes is a great quarterback and all that. He's a top-level quarterback in this league, for sure. But he has been thrusted in a great situation. Does he call the plays? No. Andy Reid calls all them plays, right? He's in a great situation. And credit to him, he made use of that situation. But don't confuse Justin Herbert's situation and sit here and tell me that, oh, Justin Herbert is just not as good as Mahomes. There's nothing he could do that Mahomes, could do. Stop that, please. Okay. Now, I'm going to answer some of those questions that y'all dropped in my DM about this game. And let's start off with the first question, right? I'm going to do 2 tonight because, Claire, it's bedtime. I got to skedaddle soon. So the first question here is, should Chargers, Joe Lombardi, and Brandon Staley be blasted for their conservative play calling? Listen, everybody needs to leave Brandon Staley alone for his conservative play calling. Look, many of y'all wanted to get into analytical wars with me about his decision making in the past. Many. I've been on shows. My dad hates Brandon Staley for that reason. I know guys that want Brandon Staley's head on a silver platter. Honestly, got a bounty on this guy's head. Literally, because of the analytics. So don't come and tell me what's a conservative play calling, too conservative. I don't want to hear that. I lost my voice plenty of times trying to defend the guy because last year they had no defense, bro. There was like the 30th ranked rush defense in the league. They had no defense. I go for it every time. I want the ball in my hands of the best players on my team. Like in basketball, I want Kevin Durant taking the final shot. I want Stephen Curry taking the final shot. And in his mind last year, he rather Justin Herbert taking the final shot. Now, Claire, execution is key. It's one thing to draw up a play and go for it, but if you're putting the faith in your players to convert on 4th downs, they need to convert. Now, Claire, this year, he don't got to act like that anymore because they got a defense that left points on the board. But it's still a good defense with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Good run and pass stoppers. Derwin James, Asante Samuel, J.C. Jackson. Hello. They got a good defense, so they don't need to be as aggressive this year. And Claire, when you failed on those attempts and you get blasted by the media, of course, there's going to be a part in you that probably is scarred from going for it so much where you like, all right, let me trust my defense. So now, to answer that, nah. And let's be clear here. Let's be clear. This loss has nothing to do with conservative play calling. Stop that right there. Because, honestly, the game came down to 2 plays. Asante Samuel, who dropped the pick 6 when the Chargers was up 17-7. They could have put them out behind the woodshed on that play. He dropped it. Butterfingers. Herbert, he threw a pick 6 when they had the chance to go up 24-17. Clearly, he didn't realize that Gerald Everett was, tired. And Claire, he threw that pick, and there was no effort really to stop I forgot who caught the interception, but there was no effort to stop that play from being a pick 6. Claire, everybody was tied. And, of course, Justin Herbert is not going to put himself in harm's way. He did try to make the tackle. No bueno. So, yeah, you add 6 and 6, you should get 12. That's if you didn't skip backlash, Another thing here is, actually, it came down to more than 2 plays. Mahomes got bailed out of 4 interceptions in this game. Mahomes threw a pick that was called back because of a questionable illegal contact call. Another pick was thrown, but offsetting penalty took that away. Asante Samuel, drop boy right now. I mean, he played well, but he dropped 2 crucial interceptions. He dropped another one in the red zone that he could have had. And then obviously the one that he dropped that could have put the game away. So Mahomes got bailed out of 4 interceptions in this game. Those are points and drive stoppers right there. So I don't want to hear nothing about the conservative play calling. Brandon Staley did not lose the game because of that. Now, you can say there was a couple little nuances that he did in this game that could have contributed to the Chargers blowing this 17-7 lead. For example, not going to my guy Mike Williams in the second half. Mike Williams did a great job in the first half, finding that soft spot in the zone, and clearly went away from him. And also, that offensive lineman, there was like two that went down for the Chargers. There was a lot of pressure on Herbert. That also contributed to the offense falling apart. And one thing that the Chargers did in the second half that they didn't do in the first half was turn the ball over. Anyway, I'm done with that. Let's move on to the next question. Stop talking to me about the analytics and the lack of and the conservativeness. Whatever. I'm tired of that. Okay, please stop it. Let's move on to the next question. Should we be upset that Brandon Staley left Justin Herbert in the game despite the rib injury? I think that's a fair question because in my mind, you saw Herbert down. Obviously, anytime you see a quarterback down like that, the worst possible thing comes to mind. I mean, I threw up a Jimmy Garoppolo gif in the chat. It's Jimmy Garoppolo time. I mean, my mind was just, 10 days ahead of where we was today when I saw that injury. And Justin Herbert is my guy. I respect his game. So, and I got him on my fantasy squad. And for him to come back and deliver me a touchdown to add on to my fantasy points, despite him having cracked ribs, salute to you, my brother. Herbert did that, okay? But to answer this question, it's tough because it's almost like in boxing and you see a fighter hurt and damaged. Do I throw in a towel there and live to see another fight, or do I let my fighter continue to fight? Now, Claire, this is not combat. This is football, but football is as dangerous as combat. Some could argue less, or some could argue more. Claire, when he threw that pass, I think it was to Palmer or DeAndre Carter, I think it was. I was like, all right, he just threw a bomb on that play. Perfectly thrown ball. I'm keeping him in there. So it was dicey. I probably would have taken him out before that play and said, I'll live to see another day. You're down by 10. All right, you're going to lose this game. The chances of getting an outside kick is second to none. I'm living to see another day. I'm not risking my investment, not only for now, but in the future, to get hurt. So I would have taken him out to answer that question, honestly. I would have thrown the towel. You're coming out. And Claire, we already know the Chargers have issues when it comes to doctors and punctured lungs. Okay, you remember Mr. Tyrod Taylor? You remember that? Claire, I'm making sure I'm keeping Justin Herbert safe. But they didn't. And hopefully he didn't take as much damage. He did score a touchdown. He did throw a touchdown to Palmer in the back of the end zone. I would have taken him out. And another thing you could also say about that was there was a time last year where I think it was against the Texans where Staley actually took out a guy. I forgot who it was. He had a concussion, was cleared to go back in the game. He took him out of the game, kept him out of the game in front of the press conference and said, I'm going to make sure my players are safe. Some soliloquy, right? Acting like he's about to run for president or something. And, so, yeah, you could look at that and say, well, you threw your quarterback out there, which is a bigger investment out there to win the game that you probably wasn't going to win, but you allowed somebody to sit out that had a concussion that was actually medically cleared to come back in the game. So you could look at this question from a whole lot of angles, okay? And to answer it, once again, I would have taken him out. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, the Chiefs won this game. Congratulations to the Chiefs for winning the game. They're 2-0. They have a hard schedule coming up. And, if they're able to get through that gauntlet of a schedule and still be able to maintain and take care of their territory in this division, then they should be favored to come out along with the Bills. I think the Bills are going to be great. But if you're the Chargers, it's not the end of the world. It's not World War Z. You should have won this game. We left points on the board. Your quarterback got hurt, still almost brought you back, okay? And you have an easy schedule coming up that you should be able to take care of. I think that's the most important thing for me. It's not about these hard games against the Chiefs. Yeah, those are very important. But I want to see the Chargers sweep a easy schedule. Last year they lost to the Texans. Everybody talked about that Chiefs game they lost last year with the analytics behind it, instead of talking about the game they were supposed to win in between that, which was against the Texans on the road. I want to see them take care of this easy schedule, and if they are able to do that, then we'll get to the further conversations when they meet the Chiefs for the second time. Lil Shadamas on the mic. I'm out. My night is over. Peace.
The Can You Dig It Sports Radio Network is here. Revolutionize the game of media. Be a dig.